Ilia Topuria is the lock of the century at UFC 308, and I'm going to show you why, okay? Because I am tired of these Max Holloway fans who aren't really fans, they're just bandwagons, but I'm tired of them. Whenever you ask them why you think Max Holloway is going to win, it's just, y'all are forgetting who Max is. Y'all must not know about Max. Y'all don't be down in Max in this one. Like, there's no technical reason, and I'm not Mr. Technical. I don't need a technical breakdown on everything, but we're going to be looking at some stuff here today, okay? I got my archaeologist hat on today, and we're going to be looking at the stuff that the Max Holloway fans don't want to look at, because these guys love to look at the Justin Gaethje fight, and that's about it. That's what they'll use as their reference, and, you know, why they're going to be picking Max Holloway to beat Ilia. That's it. They forget about every other fight that's happened in the past, but no, not me. We're putting on, you know, we're going to be searching for some fossils today, and we're going to be pulling them out. And for starters, let me say this, the only reason why you are so, you know, confident in Max Holloway winning is because you're just shocked that he was able to beat Justin Gaethje. You're one of these guys who probably picked against Max Holloway and thought that it was some David versus Goliath battle, and Justin Gaethje was going to slaughter him, and it was just going to be, you know, it was such a bad fight for Max, and Max was never going to win that, and you're just shocked that he was able to knock out Justin Gaethje. I'm sorry to tell you this, he was always going to win that fight, and just in case you don't believe me, and I'm just saying this in hindsight, I got proof right here of me picking Max Holloway. You know, 40% of people picked him, so obviously 40% of people knew that Gaethje is a bit overrated. And, you know, let me just point this out first, though. Here's me and my friend discussing how, you know, we thought that Max was an absolute lock on UFC 300. We also did think Charles was one too, but, you know, Charles, he lost the split decision, you know, not the biggest deal, but we did get the Max pick right, and he was a lock. This isn't me saying, I think Max might be able to win this one. He was literally a lock in my eyes. I didn't for a second think that, you know, Gaethje was going to be able to outskill and fucking outpoint who... I genuinely don't understand how people thought Gaethje was going to win. These are the people who are either Gaethje fans or they genuinely consider Gaethje to be some knockout beast. And which he was never going to win by knockout, and a guy like Ilia Topuria might actually win by knockout when it comes to the Max Holloway fight. But listen, Gaethje, even though he has all these knockouts, they're on the regional scene, and also in the UFC, they're not against the best guys, right? And they're not with his hands. He's not knocking people out with his hands. He's maybe knocking out Edson Barbosa, right? That was a flatline. I'll give that to him. That was, you know, a semi-flatline. It was a flatline, though. I'll give that to him. But then it's like James Vick, who everybody's knocked out, and other than that, it's not many flatlines, at least that I can think of, you know, and I did scour a bit. I did scour the internet a bit, but... Oh my god, Gaethje, that's brutal. Bruh, Gaethje, slow down, bruh. No, you're gonna flatline him. Stop, bruh. Even with the follow-up, can't flatline him, bruh. Not too many flatlines, whereas you got a guy like Ilia Topuria, who has, like, what, 6 fights in the UFC? Am I getting that? Maybe 7? He's already knocked out cold 3 guys, and then he still has some knockouts on the regional scene. He only has like 1 knockout, flatline knockout, but they're all flatlines. That's the thing. They're all flatlines, and he's always knocking down his opponents, right? He is always knocking down people, and I think, guys, people genuinely underestimate Ilia's power because they think Gaethje has more power than him, and I'm probably going to get some flack for that, but I genuinely don't see how people think Gaethje has more power than Ilia. Ilia has more power, and another thing is, Max had to fight at 155. He built up to fight at 155. He did it right this time. He didn't go straight into it. He wasn't fat like for the Dustin fight. So he built up for it. And now he's built all this muscle, and he's going to have to cut down. The weight cut's going to be even harder than usual. He's not going to be able to take shots as well, okay? So if you thought that, you know, that knockdown that Justin Gaethje had on Max Holloway, which I personally don't look at too much, I don't think it was that bad of a knockdown. It was kind of a flash knockdown, similar to Cheeto versus Figgy, where, you know, Cheeto got right back up. But it was a flash knockdown. Don't look into that too deeply. And if you're thinking, you know, he's going to knock him out because of that, that's not why. But there are actual reasons why Ilia might knock him out. And my head's all over the place right now, okay? I have set up a lot of stuff here, but we're gonna be looking at this for starters. We're gonna go in chronological order, and we're starting with, you know, well actually first let me get this started. Let me say Ilia is a different beast. Okay, we got some examples here of the shots that I'm gonna be showing you guys, not only from Ilia. This is gonna be from the fights that Max Holloway has had, and just these are some, you know, Ilia likes to use that right, and I personally think he has the best right hand in the UFC. Feel free to disagree with me. My friends have called me delusional for that take, but when you ask them, you know, when I ask my friends, who has a better right hand? They don't know. I don't know. Josh Emmett. Like, okay, Josh Emmett has a better right hand. Yeah, that's why he got 50-42'd by Ilia Topuria. Who has a better right hand? Like, I'd say Alex Pereira has the best left hand in the UFC. But, you know, that's okay. But has he really flatlined people? So when you got a guy like Ilia Topuria completely flatline KOing people with his right hand, always using his right to set up knockouts and stuff, and knocking out people with his right, I don't know why it's so hard for people to admit. It's literally only because they hate Ilia, but he probably does have the best right hand, and we need to look at it, whether you, even if you're looking at it objectively, and I'm going to try to be, you know, objective in this, because I am a Max Holloway fan too. There's a reason I picked him against Gaethje, and it wasn't only because I thought, you know, he's going to win the technical battle, because I like Holloway, okay? I genuinely like Holloway. He is a top 5 favorite fighter for me, and this is the first time I'm ever pretty much picking against him. Okay, I don't pick against Max Holloway that often. I don't think I have. And, you know, this is the first time I'm picking against him, and it's for a good reason. Also, let me just say this. Ilia has only lost 2 rounds in his UFC career. That's just insane. That's insane. That's a little bit of glaze, but, dude, he's literally a different beast, and people will not accept it until he beats Max, which he's going to do. But let me move on to the Volk fight, right? The Volk fight that Max Holloway fans, and when I say fans, I don't really mean the fans. I don't mean Max Holloway fans, because I'm chill with Max Holloway fans. I consider myself one, and I respect the fuck out of these people. You know, I respect actual Max Holloway fans, but these Max Holloway bandwagons, that's who I'm referring to when I say fans. These guys love to forget, you know, they love to wipe their memory when it comes to Max Holloway versus Volkanovski 3. It doesn't exist in their head. It just popped away. They don't even remember them fighting. But this fight was a boxing masterclass by Volk. It was a complete boxing masterclass by Volk, right? The first fight, Volk won it by his leg kicks. The second fight, you know, it was kind of even, honestly. It was like a split decision, and, you know, you didn't really know who won clearly. A lot of people say Max Holloway was robbed, and when you watch the fight, it's, you know, it's kind of 50-50, honestly, depending on that round 3, who you score it for. And let me just fucking, who cares? The third fight, Volk leaned on the boxing heavily, and he literally had his best fight by just leaning on the boxing. He wasn't using his leg kicks like he did in the first fight. He was literally leaning on the boxing. So I don't understand when you got these guys who say, like, Max Holloway's the best boxer in the UFC just because he had that clip farm moment against Calvin Kattar. That clip farm has fed generations of families because they have convinced themselves that Max Holloway is genuinely the best boxer in the UFC. Like, you know, I know it's more the casual side that think that, because I have some casual friends, and when I say Ilia Topuria is a better boxer than Max Holloway, they think I'm delusional. They think that this is only based on the fact that I'm an Ilia Topuria fan, but I'm sorry. A lot of people who genuinely are more invested into the sport would agree that Ilia Topuria is a better boxer, but, you know, Max Holloway is not the best boxer, but he's a good-ass striker. He is a very elite striker, you know, probably a top 5, maybe not top 5, I don't know. You'd have to go through the list, but he's an elite striker. Not the best boxer, though. He's not the best boxer. Not a top 3 boxer in my books, especially because he has been outboxed by Volk. He's been outboxed by Dustin, too, but I'm not bringing that up. He's been outboxed by Volk, and this is recent. It's 2 years ago, but people will, you know, these bandwagons will act like it was 16 years ago, and this, bro, who even brings up this fight? It's a pretty important thing to look at if you're fucking betting on Max Holloway or picking Max Holloway, but, you know, this fight, complete boxing masterclass by Volk. We got him landing a right hand about 16,000 times. You know, I challenge you to watch this fight and take a shot every time you hear the words, you know, come out of Joe Rogan's mouth or DC's mouth saying, big right hand there. Oh my God, big right hand by the champ.
That was another good right hand by Volkanovski.
Big right hand. Volkanovski starting to find a home for that right hand.
Because legitimately in the first round, I think I heard it about 17 times. And throughout the fight, it happens like 100 times where you just hear, there's another big right from the champ. That right hand is landing, man. Dude, I swear, people genuinely don't know Max Holloway doesn't have the best boxing defense. He does not have the best boxing defense whatsoever. It's not that great because he relies on his chin. And sure, you can do it against a guy like Volk, who's not Mr. Power. He's not Mr. Power, right? This guy doesn't have many KOs in his career. But you know, you can do it against him. But when it comes to a guy like Ilia, you better fucking know how to guard a right hand, because throughout these, you know, images I'm going to show you, you're going to see a lot of rights landing on Max. And I also, let me pull up some stats right here in case you're one of these stat guys. Like, what do I mean when I say he doesn't have the best boxing defense? Well, for instance, he's always letting these head strikes slip through. Like Volk in the third fight, 76% of his strikes landed were to the head. Okay, that's a fucking big number, especially if you're planning on doing this against Ilia. And why do I say like if you're planning on doing it? Because he does it against everybody. Look, like Arnold Allen. This is the Arnold Allen fight. Arnold Allen's landing 63% of his strikes to the head, right? And that the thing is, these people aren't even going out there with a boxing game plan. Like these guys go out there with the plan of leg kicking a lot of the times. Like you'll hear the commentators will go with, he's going to that leg kick because, you know, he's trying to weaken Max calf. He's trying to go for that calf. Bro, these guys will legitimately be obsessed with the calf because they think it's Volk versus Max 1. They literally want to abuse the leg kicks, when in reality, their boxing is where they end up finding a lot of their success. But, you know, they don't have that much power. Like, I'm sorry, Arnold Allen isn't Mr. Power, but he's still able to land these good shots through, and you'll hear the commentators glaze it a little bit, but, you know, he's not Mr. Power. He's not going to be doing anything with that, but still, if you're landing this many, and then you got the Korean Zombie, 73% of the strikes to the head. And let me just pull these up. All right, so going back to the Volk images, though, we got a ridiculous amount of right hands, and these are some combos that Volk was setting up, right? These aren't all just right hands landing, because they were a lot of combos, right? Volk would start off with the right hand, and then he would go into a combo. And the thing is, Ilia throws a crap ton of combos. He throws a shit ton of combos, right? He is throwing combos left and right, and he's targeting the body a lot. He'll go from the body to the head. And a guy like Max, who leaves his head open a lot, it's not going to be that good, especially if you're letting these many right hands slip through. And I genuinely think Ilia Topuria has a chance to knock out Max, okay? Because you can only use your chin for so long, especially when Ilia Topuria is, I'm going to say this, he is probably the hardest hitter that Max has had to face, okay? He is either the second if you want to glaze Gaethje that much, but in reality, he's not that hard of a hitter. But, you know, well, he is a hard hitter, but he's not that hard of a hitter compared to Ilia, bro. I'm telling you, Ilia has insane power, and you're going to see it, and I genuinely think he might knock out Max. But let's move on to another example. We got the next fight that Max had, which was against Arnold Allen, who Arnold Allen isn't Mr. Power, right? This guy's not knocking out many people. Sure, he had the thing about against Gaethje, Dustin Hooker, what am I saying, bro? Guys, in case you couldn't tell, I'm a little tired because I did just sit through every Max Holloway fight from the second Volk fight to his most recent fight, and then I also watched all of Ilia Topuria's fights, and I gathered a bunch of images here, but, you know, it's not looking good. After doing my tape study, it is not looking good. And I genuinely didn't think it was going to be good for Max before that, but after the tape study, Ilia is literally a lock. He is the lock of the century, arguably. I mean, it's going to be insane. But, you know, we got Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen's a southpaw, though, so he's not landing too many rights on Max, but he was still landing some. He was still landing some good rights. A lot of good lefts, though. That's the thing. Like, Ilia Topuria, he's not only Mr. Right. I know he likes to knock out guys with his right, but he uses his left, too. He's not, you know, he's not only throwing the right hand out here. He's not exclusively right. He throws out the left a lot as well. So I don't think that, you know, Max, who's leaving his head out this much, is gonna fucking be able to eat that many shots from Ilia. And that's kind of the point I'm making with all these. It's kind of getting repetitive, honestly. But I'm gonna point out the Korean Zombie one. And also, wait, let me also go back to this. Fuck, bro, I'm all over the place. Arnold Allen, yo, if you're watching this, you're a W, man. You're a good man. But Arnold Allen, he did win 2 rounds against Max. He won round... Fuck, bro, I just watched this fight. He won round 5 and round 2 against Max. And then you had Michael Bisping on the commentary, and he was glazing Arnold Allen. He was making it sound like the fight was super close. Like, I don't know. I think, you know, Arnold actually, he's in this. But in reality, he won 2 rounds. But still, there were some close moments. So it wasn't like some outclassing by Max. And, you know, 48-47 doesn't indicate that, but that was his fight back from losing to Volk, right? So he got this win. Not the most impressive win. I'm sorry, genuinely not the most impressive win, but still a good win, like, nevertheless, because the commentary would make you believe that this was kind of close, but in reality, it was a clear win for Max. Then we had the TKZ fight, right, against 56-year-old TKZ, and TKZ did ridiculously well compared to what I remembered in the first round. The first round was pretty close. He was landing a crap ton of head strikes. He was landing a bunch of headshots, headshot dead. And here I did include actually an example of one of these combos that, or something that Max Holloway tends to do, right? He gets hit by a big shot, he'll back up against the fence, right? And when you do that against a guy like Ilia, Ilia will make you back up against the fence, and you have nowhere to go, right? You have nowhere to go. You go left or you go right, and he just knocks you out. So I don't like the look of this from Max, right? I don't like his body language a lot of times, especially from a guy like TKZ, who's 63 years old, and he literally retired right after this fight, but he had a lot of success in round 1. Round 2 wasn't even close. Round 3 he got knocked out, so it's whatever. But we got to look at this. If you're picking Max, you can't just, this is the problem. A lot of people, when they pick Max, they disregard these fights. They don't even bother watching them. They just look at the, oh, he KO'd TKZ, right? And then he won unanimous decision versus Arnold. Yeah, so, yeah, dude, obviously, he revived his career. But, guys, I mean, these wins aren't, fantastic. Sure, a TKZ win's cool, but, when TKZ's out there, that's the thing. I hope you guys watch these fights, because you'd be surprised at how well TKZ was doing in the first round, and these good moments where TKZ was landing big shots, and you even had, I don't remember who was on the commentary, I think it was Michael Bisping, but you had a moment where TKZ was, he was charging forward and he hit Max. I think it was this right here. He hit Max with the right, and the commentary went, "Oh, he's wobbled Max." It wasn't really that big of a wobble, but it still was a little bit. And if TKZ is doing that to you, bro, I'm sorry, Ilia is going to take advantage of you. He's going to take advantage of you. Literally, just please watch these fights, because you would be surprised. They're not exactly that much of an outclassing, right? Sure, he did knock him out, but guys, it's not the biggest outclassing like you would think. And when you got a guy out here like Ilia, who's genuinely outclassing people, I don't know why it's so hard for people to give Ilia credit. Okay, so let's look at Ilia's stats a little here. I'm not Mr. Stats also, let me say this, because when you look too deeply in the stats, I know Bedtime likes to toss up the stats and say, he's literally better in every strategic category or whatever. Statistic category. That doesn't dictate a fight. That's not how a fight's gonna go, because Ilia Topuria is better than in a lot of these categories than Max Holloway. Okay, I got everybody's record pulled up right here, but let's see. Striking defense, Ilia's better. Striking accuracy, Ilia's slightly worse, but when you got takedowns and strikes absorbed per minute, it's lower. So you can't look at these. I don't care about stats, because that's when you go and pick a guy like Gaethje against Max Holloway, if you're looking at these stats, right? So I don't care about stats necessarily, but stuff like this is kind of important to look at, because it shows you how, what the fighter's targeting, right? What's the fighter targeting? And you got Ilia Topuria. He likes to headhunt a lot. He's headhunting a lot, but he's also mixing it up to the body. And he's also recently developed his leg kicks. Those leg kicks were looking pretty hefty. And, Volk did edge out round 1, but he was still very competitive with Volk, which, when you compare that to Max Holloway in his last performance against Volk, it's not great, especially when it's pretty fucking recent, okay? 2 years ago, you have to take that into consideration. So, we got Ilia here, headhunting a bit, right, 48%, but then we got here, extreme headhunting against Josh Emmett, so 81%, and the reason I'm pointing this out, 85% against Bryce Mitchell, 62% against Damon Jackson, so it's still pretty high, is because Max Holloway's letting so many head strikes through, and so many fighters who don't even headhunt usually are having high percentages of, shots landed to the head. I can't imagine what Ilia Topuria is going to do against Max Holloway. He is going to headhunt probably a lot and fucking find a lot of success. And I'm sorry, but I don't know how many shots Max Holloway is going to be able to take against a guy who's constantly throwing to the head with powerful strikes. This isn't fucking Pipsqueak. This isn't Pipsqueak number 1. I don't know who you want to fucking take as an example, but Volk's, bro. Volk doesn't have the most power, and he's finding a lot of success to the head. So, dude, I genuinely don't know what the fuck Max is going to do. And please tell me if you're genuinely one of these guys who's picking Max, not because you must have forgot who he is. You must have forgot who Max is. If you're one of these guys who's actually picking him for a good reason, tell me what it is, because I have yet to find a Max Holloway picker, a person who's picking him, that has said a reason why they're picking him other than you're forgetting who Max is. Like, Max is literally the best guy there other than Volk. Like, that's the only reason I ever get. And I've yet to know why anybody is picking Max other than that. Even Bedtime. You've even seen Bedtime switch his pick, I'm pretty sure, right? He was picking Max. He constantly said, yeah, I'm picking Max, bro. I'm picking Max. And then he probably did a little research, and he found out, there's literally no reason to pick Max. The only reason people will literally look at Ilia Topuria's crowd reaction at UFC 300 and pick Max Holloway because Ilia looks scared in the crowd. That might genuinely be one of the worst reasons I have ever heard for picking a fighter, because the other guy looks so scared. And another thing I want to say is Ilia Topuria has been game planning for this fight longer than Max Holloway has, okay? Because regardless of what you think, I know Ilia, after he beat Volk, he was kind of saying, I don't think anyone deserves to fight me. I think Ortega's next or some bullshit like that, right? He was trolling. He obviously knew Max Holloway was next. Do you think this guy hasn't been game planning for Max this whole time? Like, do you genuinely think that Ilia Topuria has just been sitting on the sidelines and he's been like, well, I'm fighting Max, I guess, whatever. And he just recently learned that he's fighting Max. He has known this whole time that he's going to be fighting Max. He has been training for Max this whole time. And you got a guy like Max who, he had the Gaethje fight. He probably took a little break after that. And he genuinely looks at Ilia Topuria as a bit of a joke, right? You got this guy on Joe Rogan's podcast saying, Ilia Topuria, dude, you got to be delusional to think that Volk was himself that night. That's not what you want to hear from a fighter. You don't want to hear a fighter underestimate Ilia's potential, because that's what Max is doing right now. He's kind of overlooking Ilia because of what happened to Volk before, right? Volk got knocked out by Islam, so he's thinking, oh well, it was just it was like an old Volk and a washed Volk, which granted it wasn't prime Volk, but still it's a version of Volk who Max has never beat Volk. So dude, you got to look at that. You got to take this guy seriously. And as somebody who likes Max, is a Max fan, and I can imagine if you're picking Max, it's not the best look to see him kind of shoving aside Ilia Topuria and thinking, bruh, this guy doesn't even want to fight me. He's scared of me. He fluked that win. That's the kind of mindset that Max Holloway has going into this, and I don't like it. I genuinely don't think Max is going to win this. This it's kind of more serious, because I honestly think, this isn't my official pick or anything, but I honestly think it's going to be 50-45 Ilia Topuria, or probably a late round KO, okay? I'm guessing a late round KO. I'm not sure, though. Could be early, because, Ilia Topuria is a little better in the early rounds. So it very well could be early, but the only reason I say late is because I think Ilia Topuria is going to kind of have to break down Max Holloway's chin. I don't think he's going to instantly be able to chin him, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised, because if Ilia lands the right shot, it's not going to be nice, okay? It's not going to be, oh, Max is the best chin in the UFC, obviously he's going to eat it. It doesn't matter if you have the best chin, bro. You can still get knocked out, okay? So it's not great. Genuinely, though, this is my pick forever. It's going to be Ilia Topuria. I genuinely think he's a lock. I don't know how you can pick anybody else. And yeah, that's it for the video, guys. Subscribe, comment, tell me what you think, because I actually want to hear from people picking Max why they're picking Max. And if it's something like you forgot who Max is, I don't care, because I didn't forget who Max is. If anything, I'm looking in his past, and I'm actually digging up some stuff, and I'm finding out that it's probably going to be a loss. Right, he's probably going to lose to Ilia. And I'm sorry to say that, but, I'm still going to root for Max. I wish he would have stayed at lightweight. I have no clue why he decided to move back to featherweight. Does nothing for him. He was looking insane at lightweight, so why not stay at lightweight, man? I literally would have fucking loved to root for him at lightweight. But I'll be rooting for him after he loses to Ilia still. I don't care. I'm still going to love Max. Even if he wins champ, I can't say that I would be too happy, because I've invested a lot of effort into pushing the Ilia agenda, as Ilia is a good fighter. So it would make me look stupid if Ilia does end up losing. But, Max as a champ, he would still be cool. So if he wins, it's whatever. But he's not going to win. I genuinely don't see a way for him to win. He would have to. I don't even know what he could do. I don't know what he can do. He's not going to do anything on the ground. Ilia has the ground advantage. And Ilia has the striking advantage. I'm sorry. It's as simple as that. He's not going to do anything. That's it. Hope you enjoyed a longer video. Let me know in the comments. See you in the next one.